Greetings, Terrarians, Khaios here. We are 2 weeks into Journey's End, and today I wanted to talk about how the update impacts building. This video will be going over tools, blocks, furniture, features, and new mechanics that will breathe new life into building from this amazing update, including changes to things like the spawn point. So if you don't want any 1.4 spoilers, click off now. If you have any questions or feedback, let me know in the comments, and if you enjoy these kinds of tip videos, please consider subscribing to my channel. It really helps me out. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the biggest change to building, which is probably pretty obvious to you: Journey Mode. But you might not realize just how much this can help us in building. I'm not going to talk about the well-known features like disabling monsters, extended tile reach, or item duplication. The first ability that I want to talk about is time control. Yes, it is straightforward that you can set time, speed it up, or freeze it, and the clear benefit to this is giving you control over your preferred lighting for building, but time also has a huge impact on vegetation in Terraria. When you freeze time, nothing grows. Grass and moss don't spread, vine and tall grass and dye plants don't grow, acorns don't sprout into trees. Since time is paused, so is much of the world. This can be extremely handy if you want to build without any plants growing or spreading, but far more useful than preventing any plants from growing is the ability to make them grow faster. You can set time to be as fast as 24 times the normal speed, which means that plants will grow 24 times faster. This is great for spreading grass and moss or growing vines and tall grass, but it's even better for plants that can take a very long time to grow, such as cactus, cattail, bamboo, and trees. So as you can see here, time manipulation is an extremely powerful tool for building, but that's not all that Journey Mode has to offer us. This may come as a surprise to you, but the difficulty settings in this mode are also extremely helpful for building. In fact, I recommend building almost entirely in Master Mode difficulty of Journey Mode. By using God Mode and disabling monster spawning, you can ensure that this isn't going to make building any more difficult for you, but it does come with some very unique benefits. Similar to how Expert Mode gives you an additional accessory slot to work with, Master Mode gives you 2 bonus slots. That's 2 extra accessories that you can equip for as long as you have that difficulty enabled. If you leave Master Mode, the slots will no longer be in use, though you can still keep the accessories equipped. In 1.3.5, there was little use for extra accessory slots, as there were only 4 or so accessories that you needed for building. 1.4, however, adds several new accessories that can greatly help out with building, which is precisely why it would be very beneficial for you to set Journey Mode's difficulty to Master Mode to get the extra accessory slots. I'm not going to talk about any of the old equipment for building, as I already have a tutorial out on that subject and it's still applicable today. If you're curious about what I recommend to help you with building, I'll leave a link to that video in the description below. But today I'm going to be talking about anything that 1.4 adds to help builders even more, and the first accessory on my list is the Ancient Chisel. This accessory increases your mining speed by 25%, which might not sound like a lot, but it actually makes a huge difference. Even better, since it's a mining speed increase, it won't speed up your hammer, which actually helps out with anybody wanting to use a slower hammer. My previously mentioned video talks about why you might want to do this. The Ancient Chisel can be found within sandstone chests that are located within the underground desert. You also have a chance of getting one by opening up Oasis fishing crates. For the next accessory, I'm going to be talking about a pretty late game item. This is the Soaring Insignia, and it is an item that drops from the new Empress of Light boss from her Expert Mode treasure bag, which will increase your movement speed when running, falling, or flying. More importantly, it also grants you infinite flight, meaning that your wings or rocket boots will never run out of energy and you can fly non-stop. I don't really need to tell you why this can be extremely handy, so let's move on to the next accessory. These are the Specter Goggles. If you've seen my graveyard mini biome video, you've already heard me talk about these, but for those who haven't, they are an item that you can purchase from the cyborg while within the mini biome. These goggles will allow you to see the very first invisible block in Terraria, which is called the Echo Block. Later on in this video, I'll talk about different ways that you can use Echo Blocks to help improve your building, so for now I want to talk about the last new building accessory. Have you ever had a problem with your tool reach making it so you could mine blocks very far away but you couldn't actually pick up the items? I can't tell you how many times I've had to dig into builds to get materials out or use mods to delete them because I can dig much further than I can pick up items. Well, this new accessory is a game changer in that department. The treasure magnet will increase the range that you can pick up items by nearly 10 blocks in every direction, making items float long distances towards you as long as you have this accessory equipped. Unfortunately, it doesn't go quite far enough to reach the distance that Journey Mode with building accessories provides, but it does come very close to that, and as long as you aren't working too far away from your character, you will have a much easier time picking up anything that's dropped while you build. This would be very useful for standard building in the previous update, but it's pretty much mandatory with the addition of block swap, as this causes a lot more items to be littered out of reach. The treasure magnet can be found locked away inside of shadow chests in the underworld, but you can also find them from obsidian lockboxes by fishing in lava. Speaking of lava fishing, two of the most useful building tools in 1.4 come from just this task. We all know about the bottomless water bucket and super absorbent sponge. They are the best ways to place or remove infinite amounts of water. Well, at long last, lava gets the same treatment with the bottomless lava bucket and lava absorbent sponge. The bucket will place lava infinitely in the same way that the water version does, and the lava sponge works the same way as the old sponge does, but with, you guessed it, lava. These are even more powerful than the water versions, given that you cannot place blocks inside of lava, which means these essentially make building in the underworld or any lava area much easier. Both of these items are obtained by fishing in lava, though expect to be there for a while because they are fairly rare. Unfortunately, there are not honey versions of the bucket and the sponge, though admittedly I work a lot less with honey than I do with water and lava, so this works very well for me. This isn't the only new way to place and remove liquids, however. 1.4 adds a few new weapons that can act as building tools. You heard me right, I said weapons, specifically explosives. The dry bomb is an item that's sold by the demolitionist. When thrown, after a few seconds, it will detonate. Not only does it deal damage within a small radius, but it also removes any liquids. Lava, water, or honey, it will get rid of all of it. And don't worry, as it doesn't destroy any tiles in the process. But if you're standing near a liquid source, you can use these dry bombs to create liquid versions. If you're next to water, honey, or lava pools, you will be able to make wet, honey, or lava bombs. These work the opposite way from their dry counterpart, meaning that they will spawn a small pool of water, lava, or honey on detonation. In hard mode, if you visit the sideboard, you will see that he sells a dry rocket. This works exactly the same way that the bomb does, except it's fired from a rocket or grenade launcher. Unfortunately, these won't work for specialty weapons like the Celebration Mark II, though that would really be glorious. As with the dry bomb, the dry rocket can be used to craft water, honey, and lava variants. There is one last type of new explosive that can be useful for building that doesn't have a rocket variant. This is the dirt bomb. It is simply made by combining some dirt blocks and bombs. When these detonate, a small circle of dirt will be placed within the blast radius. This doesn't destroy any blocks, so the dirt will end up forming around any tiles that the bomb might hit. This won't be the most useful item for building, at least for me personally, but I'm listing it in this video because I do see it having some potential use in building, especially for anyone in early game. Another pair of incredibly useful items are the World Globe and the Tree Globe. These are purchased from the Zoologist NPC when you have completed 50% of your bestiary, and what they do is pretty amazing. Throwing a world globe will shuffle randomly through the various different backgrounds with each globe that you toss. Throwing out the tree globe will do the same with trees. Only the biome that you're standing in will be affected by these changes, though keep in mind that all biome changes are linked together. If I change the background within one desert, all deserts in the world will change to match. So that covers what I think are the most important new tools for building, but what about mounts? For years, we've used the cosmic car key to allow us to hover in the air while we build. Well, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but the UFO mount has finally been rendered obsolete for builders. Since 1.4 has released, you may have noticed that I now ride on a broomstick like I'm a wizard, Harry. This update adds several new flying mounts to Terraria, including ones that can fly infinitely, but this one is my personal favorite for building. It is called the Witch's Brim. This is a flying mount very similar to the UFO, which has a chance to drop from the Morningwood mini-boss in the Pumpkin Moon event on Expert or Master mode. And when I say it is similar to the UFO mount, I mean it is nearly identical. It moves at the same speed and it has infinite flight, much like the Cosmic Car Key, but there are two subtle yet massive differences that make this easily much better than the UFO. When you're riding the older mount, your character height increases from 3 tiles to 4. This means you couldn't fit through doors or small tunnels. The Witch's Brim, however, doesn't increase your height. When you're on this mount, you can fit into 3 block gaps and doors just as you would without any mount at all. The other change will help massively when working with honey, lava, and water. Unlike the UFO mount, which despawns the second it comes into contact with any liquid, the Witch's Brim does not. This means you will be able to build near water or even underwater without losing your ability to hover in place. This mount does move much slower while in the water, meaning that the Duke Fishron mount might be a better option here, but since I don't like carrying around too many mounts at once, I'm perfectly happy with this reduced water speed. So that covers all of the new tools for building, at least in my opinion. But before I end this video, I wanted to go on to talk about some new mechanics, blocks, and furniture of interest, starting with the changes to the spawn point. For those of you who have built in the center of the world in the past, you will know that placing blocks within the spawn point would cause those blocks to break whenever you log into the world, and having a hole beneath the spawn point would cause you to fall. This has been changed quite a bit in Journey's End. Now when you log into a world, the spawn point scans for a safe area to place you in within a vertical line. Starting from the center, it searches 30 blocks above the spawn point for a gap to place your character in. If nothing is found, it searches 50 blocks beneath that spawn point. You will spawn on top of the first block with 3 gaps of open air that the spawn point finds within that 80 block area. If no places to stand are found within that range, you will load in directly on top of the spawn point. This means that if you have a tunnel dug below the spawn point that is more than 50 blocks deep, you will enter the world in mid-air and fall. If you bury the spawn point with blocks more than 30 tiles high, when you log in, any blocks within a 3x3 area around the spawn point will be destroyed just like they would be in the previous update. So essentially, the spawn point now gives you an 80 block area worth of wiggle room to work with, so you don't accidentally break your builds every time you log into the world. The last thing that I want to talk about today are some of the new specialty blocks and furniture. 1.4 adds so many new amazing building items that I wouldn't have time to talk about them all, so instead I'm only going to go over the blocks and furniture that have unique properties, starting with what is probably my favorite piece of furniture in Terraria, the fog machine. This is purchased from the party girl during night. When you place it on the floor, a shroud of fog envelops the machine, hiding not only it, but players, NPCs, blocks, and walls. And the fog can be made even more dense by adding more fog machines in a small area. This is an extremely ambient piece of furniture. You may have noticed me use it in my golf map to hide some honey blocks within the corruption biome. Even better, the fog machine can be toggled on and off via wiring, giving you better control over when you use this feature. Now let's talk about blocks. There are 3 new blocks that come with unique properties, and 1 old block that has an added new feature as well. And let's talk about that old block first. Cloud block now negates fall damage. This works even when gravity is reversed. So with that change, we now have a way to break falls without the added bounce that silly balloons and pink slime give. Earlier in the video, I mentioned the Specter Goggles and Echo block. Again, this is purchased from the cyborg while within a graveyard. The echo block is completely invisible unless you have the Specter Goggles equipped. I already went over a handful of uses in my graveyard video, so I'll leave a link to that in the description below if you're curious, but one thing I didn't mention is that you can use this to prevent vines or acorns from growing. Simply place an actuated piece of echo block in the path of some vines to vary their length, or you can place it above an acorn to ensure that it never turns into a full tree. The anti-portal block does exactly what the name implies. You will not be able to shoot portals onto it using the portal gun or portal station. In the past, we were able to accomplish this by clever use of sloped blocks or actuated blocks, but this is a very nice addition to have that can also accomplish the same thing. You can purchase the anti-portal block from the traveling merchant. Lastly, there is the grate. This block is crafted with some iron or lead bars at an anvil. The block will allow any liquids to pass through it while still acting like a physical block would. Even waterfalls can move through the grate. This allows for drainage systems that will not let anything but liquids through. With a bit of wiring, you can even turn the grate off, which will change its appearance to make it look like it's been shut, and it will no longer let any liquids pass through. This gives you a lot of control over drainage systems, as you can decide when to allow liquids through and when not to. In addition to that, the grate can be actuated, allowing players to pass through it. Bear in mind that liquids will pass through a grate whether it is open or closed when it is actuated. There is one very unique use for this though. When grates are opened, you can see the background behind them and they allow sunlight in. When they're closed, the background is blocked and no more light enters them. This means that you can use grates to form a window shutter that can be open or closed through wiring. Just bear in mind that if you're actuating the grate, you will want to place glass walls behind it so that monsters cannot spawn inside. And that wraps up all of the new blocks, furniture, mechanics, and tools for building in Journey's End. This update has seriously added a ton of new amazing possibilities for builders, and I'm so happy that we can finally work with these. Thank you all very much for watching this video. If you found it helpful, please leave a comment and a like. And if you want to see more build tips like this, subscribe to my channel. I hope you all are enjoying Journey's End as much as I am, and hopefully this video will help you out with building even more. For now, I'll catch you all later. Happy building!